Hi guys, it's Nicole and I have a super exciting video for you guys today. I am taking part in the Handmade Holiday Paper Crafting Parade over at scrapbook.com. You guys know how much I love their branded products, the alpha dies, the border dies, all the stuff that I tell you guys about, my favorite foam strips, that kind of thing. So I'm super excited to be a part of this. I'm not sure how I ended up here. I don't think I belong, but I'm here. And I felt like it would be a good opportunity to kind of talk more about their branded stuff and why I like it. And I wanted to try out some different things. So for my layout, I am documenting one of our previous holiday cards. I want to say this is from 2016, maybe 2017. But I had two of their smooth cardstock packs. Typically, when I go onto their store, I always check the coupon area because they tell you what's on sale for any given time, but they also link to it. And I'm kind of like I need you to hold my hand through some things. So I always go look there. And then my favorite thing to do is I go over like up on the top left, on the store tab, you can click new products and literally just scroll and see what they've added to the store. And then it kind of goes by day. So like the most recent day, and then it goes backwards. And I scroll through there because I don't shop that often and I'm not really in different like Facebook groups and stuff where people are constantly talking about new product. So I kind of feel like I'm out of the loop a lot of the times. So I always go there and kind of look through and see what's new. The last time I ordered, I got a bunch of different stuff from their branded stuff. These slimline dies that I'm pulling out now, you guys have seen these before. I absolutely love them. I've been using them in my 2020 month in review for creating with collections. So I pulled those out because I wanted to play with these cardstock like paper pad things that they came out with. I kept seeing them and I wanted to try them. They come out in, I want to say like an A2 size, a slimline size, and then these ones that I have are 6x8. So to me, it kind of pulls in more like basic type papers that I can put with my 6x6 pads. That was why out of the three sizes, I went with the 6x8 size. And I went through and I found between the two pads, so I have boho and floral. Between the two pads, I found 8 colors that I felt like went with like the feel of my Christmas card, and then the outfits that we were wearing weren't necessarily Christmas themed, but I felt like I could kind of make it work. In the end, I absolutely love it. It definitely worked. This was sort of in the planning and playing around phase where I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work, but in the end it does. I basically took the regular scallop die and did 2 of each color and then one of the more like detailed dies. And then I even kept, you can kind of see over on the left, oh, I zoomed in. I kept, sometimes when you cut those dies, you get like a little skinny piece of paper that just kind of cuts itself. I kept those as well. And I'm glad I did because I ended up using them as kind of like filler pieces. So when I saw the cardstock packs and I ordered them and got them, I thought it would be fun to kind of make like die cut a whole bunch of borders and then put them together. In my instance, I did kind of like a rainbow arrangement for the colors. You guys know that if I have to try to come up with an order, rainbow is probably going to be the way to go. And I just started layering them. At this point, I was only doing one of the full scallop and then one of the details. After I got a little bit further into this is just a sheet of printer paper that I cut to 8x8 because my photo card is 8 inches wide and the papers are 8 inches tall. So it just kind of worked out. And you can see that I am just kind of butting them up together. There's one of those little skinny strips that I'm using to kind of fill in and just get a little bit more mileage out of the width of this paper. I don't think I filmed where I ripped all this stuff up and kind of went back and redid it because I needed to put in another scallop strip for each section to be able to kind of fill it in. and have it be like balanced between the 8 colors. And at first I thought I was going to have them go like horizontally, and then I was liking it better like this, where the color is going from left to right and the strips are kind of, I would say, turned on their sides. But either way, even at that point, I wasn't 100% sure what was going on. And then magic of editing, I've skipped ahead so you guys didn't have to kind of watch me keep pulling things up and gluing them down. I went back and put the hearts back in to this specific border. When it cuts out, it cuts it like kind of almost looking like a doily, where, you know, you take the hearts out and you can see the paper behind it. I wanted to cover that. I wanted to cover up the paper that you can kind of see, the printer paper. Plus, I like the look of it having the hearts back in there. Okay, from there, I roughly marked out where this was going to go on my background paper. I have the Winter Floral stencil, which I think is like an 6x8 size stencil. So not necessarily designed to cover a 12x12 layout. However, that's not going to stop me. And I've talked about this before, where I tell you guys all the time, when I'm shopping for stuff, I look at things and try to think of ideas in using it in scrapbooking, not just card making. I think card making geared supplies, yes, it's going to be super easy to either find inspiration, follow samples from the manufacturer, come up with your own thing for a card, because they are card making supplies. So when I look at stuff like that, I want double duty, especially something that's a little bit more expensive, like dies and stamps and things like that. I've been getting more into stencils because to me, they are a little bit more like cost effective or cost friendly as far as like how often I would use them. But yeah, I looked at that one and it wasn't like overly Christmassy. It wasn't overly floral. It wasn't overly like one theme. So that's why it lives with me now. So my intention is I want my stencil background to also have columns of color that's going to match up loosely to those die cut pieces, if I'm explaining that correctly. So what I do is in this case, I grabbed my Lawn Fawn ink swatch and I matched up Lawn Fawn ink colors as close as I could to the cardstock colors. And then I'm messy, so for me, I like to tape things down, and this is the mint tape that Scrapbook.com has. I've talked about it in the past. I like using it for running my journaling through. I've used it for masking stamps. It just kind of lives on my desk and I use it a lot for a lot of different things. I like the fact that it's not super sticky. I've even accidentally stuck it to a photo and it came up no problem. And I just got the like 4-inch width one to use as like masking tape or like doing like stamped scenes where you mask. I got that to try instead of masking paper, because masking paper, I sometimes have a hard time getting the backing paper off. Like I can't do it. I don't have nails. It doesn't work for me. So I got the 4-inch one to kind of try. And then because this isn't like a 12-inch stencil and the stencil itself isn't really designed to where it cuts off on the right would match up where it cuts off on the left. I wish it did. It would have made things a whole lot easier. Or if it had done, like whoever designed the stencil, if they had made it so that the shapes weren't cut off on the edges, it would have been a little bit easier to line it up. So what worked for me, at first I was going to use like the domed blender brushes, but I was kind of struggling with just the size and shape of them. I do like them for stencils. This application, I was just kind of a mess. So I grabbed the Waffle Flower blending brushes. I've had these for a while. I love them. And I just tried to be really careful with my blending so that I was getting like the full shape of the image so that I could come back and line it up or just get the shapes of the next like group close enough to it. So kind of more like just free form stenciling almost. It's not gonna line up. It was more, I almost want to say like how we used to use stencils, where you would kind of have to line them up on your own. And again, I have my inks like laid out in rainbow order, correlating to that big piece that I did with the die cut borders, if that makes sense. This was one of those layouts where normally when I do my holiday cards, it's kind of a quick and easy layout. I'm not going to have a ton of journaling. Sometimes I don't even put a title. It's more of just a place for that holiday card to kind of live and be documented. But most of the time, because it's not like a bunch of event photos or something, I do something like this where I kind of go above and beyond as far as like a technique or supplies or something like that. And I like it. It's like a way for me to be able to play with things and not feel like it's going to be overwhelming to my photos. Like, I don't know that I would do something like this with like one of my kids' birthday parties or something. I would want it to be more focused on the photos and the journaling in that instance. But a holiday card, that's opening up to me being able to just have fun and play with new things, favorite things, sort of go-to tools and stuff like that. So at this point, when I kind of got all the way around, I just picked individual shapes on that stencil and very carefully with like the tip of the brush, just kind of filled them in. I didn't really care about anything in the middle because I knew that it was going to get covered up. That was kind of why I put those little pencil marks, so that I didn't sit there and waste my time like stenciling the entire thing. I didn't need to. So this is kind of where I'm like committing to things. It's starting to come together. I'm starting to really like it. I'm starting to kind of make decisions on what I like. Where do I want to go from here? Which again, when I go on to scrapbook.com, I always go into the new products, and then I always go to their branded products because I'm always kind of like, what are they coming out with next? So far, I love their tools. I love their stencils. I love, you guys know me in the foam strips. I had shown in a previous video, I bought their lined journaling cards. Those are really good. They came out with pocket cards. So I was looking through those. This is the December to Remember set, I believe. Which at first I was thinking, oh, it's just going to be all sort of like traditional Christmas themed cards. No, I started going through it, and there was some more like rustic looking cards. There was some traditional like Santa ones. There was some that went more brighter colors with snowmen. And I don't know, it was just like a good mix. So I was kind of surprised. So I went through and pulled out a bunch of the ones that had like floral images on it. The florals themselves are, I guess you would say, like holiday types of bunches. Like maybe there's holly berries or there's little sprigs of like evergreen and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to fussy cut from here and kind of make my own embellishments, because at this point I've used dies to kind of make a textured photo mat in a sense. I have used a stencil to customize like my own pattern paper, because no pattern paper in my stash was going to match this die cut thing that I've made. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to fussy cut some florals, and it ended up working really, really well. And like the snowman over there, that was a card that I thought I was going to cut the phrase from. I ended up not doing it, but that like section of the photo, or the pocket cards, was really cute too. Then it's time to make dickers. You guys know I love, 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 love their alphabet dies. I think the fact that they come individual, they don't have the little like pokey bits, you don't have to cut them apart, and they cut really well. And then they all have like the little hole, like if the paper doesn't come out, they have the little hole. I love the tall skinny font, which is these ones here. I cut them 2 layers with a 100-pound white cardstock and then 1 layer with my favorite gold 6x6 paper pad. And then I glue them together. Thus DIY thickers, otherwise known as dickers in my world. These ones are super, super skinny, and they can kind of be a pain if you're gluing them together and stacking them. However, the end result is so good. They just look so good. And the funny thing is, every time I've done a layout with these, and there's a process video for them, I always get comments on, what are the letters from? How did you make the letters? And I'm like, it's this tall skinny font from scrapbook.com. I absolutely love it. Go get it. I buy their alphabet dies when their brand is on sale. I think you can see the original price when you look, and it's like, whoa, those are expensive. I buy them when they are like half off, because to me, I would rather spend $30 and get a full set than $75, like, or whatever pricing. Like, I think I bought the bundle that had upper and lowercase, and there wasn't numbers out yet. Now you can get all 3 together. But with the tall skinny, sometimes they can be a pain. So I will either hold them with my finger and layer them with tweezers, or I'll do this where my tweezer holds the letter and kind of holds it still so I can put the glue on, and then I can just drop the next layer on top. Typically I get covered in glue by the time I'm done, but the end result of these, especially the skinny ones, are just, I don't know, they're so cute. I love them. So this is kind of time to do like the detail work. So I've cut 3 different florals, and I kind of tucked them in along the die cut borders in kind of like a tone on tone. So the one that came off the navy paper, I tucked with the navy borders. There was one that had aqua background. I tucked it down below with the aqua. And then the other one had, I think, like a cream based, so I stuck it over on the left. And then I typically figure out where I want my title to either start or end. In this case, I wanted it to end where it was kind of touching that blue cluster, and so I'm going to build my title backwards. And again, I'm using those tweezers. I think I pretty much only use them for things like this with this skinny alpha. I just find it easier. It kind of keeps my hand out of the glue when I'm applying the glue. And I don't really worry about, like, if glue oozes out. I don't really care. I know it's going to dry clear. It's not that big of a deal. It's more of, I like the fact that with the skinny font, I can have a longer title fit in a space like this and not have it be, like, too wide in a sense. And then from there, again, I tend to keep things kind of like, I know I'm not going to have a ton of journaling because I'm making my own embellishments, that kind of thing. I wanted to frame my layout, but I couldn't get the idea of sort of having a third version of this like rainbow thing going on. So I took another sheet from the 6x8 pads of those same colors, and I cut 2-inch, I think I did, well, the widths are a little bit different, but basically I cut it on the 6-inch side, and I'm going to piece together like a rainbow frame. Again, it's more work than I would probably normally do on a regular layout, but in the end, I love it. And it was sort of just like, it wasn't really like nothing mind-blowing. It was literally just, you know, adhering some paper strips behind my layout. But the visual at the end just kind of, I don't know, it just finished the layout. It gave it a little bit more interest. It mimicked the rainbow thing that was already going on with the stenciling and the border dies. And again, holiday card layouts, I tend to go above and beyond. And it becomes like, okay, stop. You just have to stop. So what I ended up, in order to do it, I just cut a 1/4 inch off of two sides of the layout. And then the navy and then the lightest colors, so the two colors that kind of go on the far left and the far right, I did like 2.5-inch sections. And then the ones in the middle, I just eyeballed. Some of them are 1 inch wide, some are 1.25 inches, some are 1.5 inches. I just eyeballed it and attached them to the back. And I went ahead and skipped ahead here so you can see this is what the back of the layout looks like. I tried to keep everything just kind of straight so that I didn't need to trim anything off. Pretty much I've got like 1/8 of an inch going all the way around, which is going to make the layout be back to a 12 by 12. Then I took a scrap from one of the lighter pink colors, printed just some information, so just one journaling strip. And you guys know I'm obsessed with these things, these foam strips. These foam adhesive strips are my absolute favorite thing. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. I am going to do a giveaway. I have a couple of their branded items that I want to send to somebody. So if you want to be entered into that, the easiest way that I've figured out how to kind of keep track of who's entered is to go to my Instagram, same handle, ColieBing. I'll put a link in the description. Find the post of this layout and post a comment, and then from those comments I can pull a winner. And on Instagram there will also be information on all the other people participating in this hop/parade. It's pretty much an Instagram hop. You guys are getting a process video because I like to share that with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed kind of like this deep dive of some of my favorite items from their store and kind of thinking outside the box with some of them and just letting me talk your ear off for 20 minutes basically. So check the description box below for a lot more information, and I always appreciate you guys stopping to spend some time with me, and I will catch you guys later.